It's 2600 BCE. The average age of death is 19 years of age. The organs of deceased Egyptians are disemboweled and placed inside the walls of a tomb. Shallow cavities act as containers. This is one of the earliest forms of preservation.
Traditions of soaking organs in resin and placing them in chests soon catch on. As the resin hardens around the organs, they take a jar-like shape.
By the end of the 4th dynasty, organs would be placed inside small, simple stone jars. From 2160 to 2040 BCE, jars started to become further complicated. The lids of jars are carved into the shape of a human head. Large blocks of text are inscribed upon them, and they come to resemble the shape of coffins.
Finally, a standard form of canopic jars is adopted, each one representing a son of the Egyptian god Horus. The head of each is carved into the lids.
Happy represented the north, possessed the head of a baboon, and protected the lungs.
Imseti represented the south, had the head of a human, and protected the liver.
Represented the west, had the head of a falcon, and protected the intestines.
Tuamatef represented the east, had the head of a jackal, and protected the stomach. The purpose of preserving organs inside of canopic jars was to grant a complete soul in the afterlife.
With death being so prevalent in ancient Egypt, it had a huge role in the beliefs and traditions of the time. This was the primary reason to preserve organs, so the spirits of the dead were complete upon their return. The inscriptions on each canopic jar consisted of a protective spell, the name of the deceased, and the protective deity.
The heart and brain, however, were not given any jars. The heart was kept in the body. This is for a variety of reasons. Keeping the heart inside of the body ensured the deceased had a good soul in the afterlife, and it also kept the foundation of the spirit.
If canopic jars were not available, they were replaced with painted substitutes. There were many sets of canopic jars around Egypt at the time. The only real constant was what they symbolized, but the appearance varied from set to set.
From 1075 to 664 BCE, the tradition of preserving organs and returning them to the body eliminated the need for a hollow canopic jar. This prompted the creation of dummy jars.
This is Charlie from the future. After the podcast has been fully recorded, I realized I forgot to say my line correctly, so I'm gonna do it here. Now delving a bit more into the significance of these gods.
Gods played a key part in ancient Egypt at the time, and still hold some influence today.
Horus, one of the most recognizable ancient Egyptian gods, was said to have been the protector of the pharaoh, and the pharaoh was regarded as the living Horus.
Because of the importance of Horus, it only makes sense that his sons were the protectors of Viscera. Hapi, son of Horus, not to be mistaken with the Nile god of the same name, was commonly associated with flooding, and the lungs were associated with drowning. This is most likely the reason Hapi would protect the lungs.
Imseti was human, unlike his 3 counterparts, and because of this protected the liver. In ancient Egypt, the liver was connected with what we commonly associate the heart with now, emotion. Imseti was seen as the best god to handle something as sensitive as the emotional root of the deceased, due to his own humanity.
Tuamatef, a name which translates to adores motherland, was the protector of the stomach. At this time in history, the most common form of death in battle was being stabbed in the abdominal area. Because of Tuamatef's connection to death and war, he is viewed as the most fitting protector for the stomach.
Lastly, the intestines were connected with 2 primary things: poison and sacrificial rituals of animals to predict the future. We don't know why he's the protector of the intestines. All in all, it appears that the ancient Egyptians held a close bond to death in their art and culture.